I want to start a piece of my mind with a story that has been trending here in Ghana the last 24 hours to do with one Camila Al Hassan. I saw the video about plus or minus 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I thought she said some very, 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 very strong things. And I remember when the video was shared on TikTok, and I saw that video on TikTok, I remember somebody wrote under that video, "Would you be able to prove what you have said?" Well, a few days later, this happened. An Accra Circuit Court has sentenced Ghanaian TikToker Camila Al Hassan to a 1 year in prison after she pleaded guilty to charges of publishing false news and engaging in offensive conduct. Her prosecution followed the circulation of videos on social media in which she made defamatory claims about President John Dramani Mahama. The videos prompted her arrest by the Ghana Police Service and subsequent prosecution. During an earlier hearing, the court ordered that a pregnancy test be conducted before proceeding with the case. Camila Al Hassan admitted to publishing videos in which she falsely alleged, without providing any evidence, that President Mahama buried 32 cows as part of rituals to secure victory in the 2024 general election. And the story goes on and on and on. The judges have spoken, so who am I? I mean, what I'm going to say here is not going to change anything. But one of the things that I know, for someone who has found myself in the media space for many years, I'm very familiar with libel and defamation. In fact, I teach it. And one of the things that I consistently tell my students is, if you're going to write something which will be libelous, if you're going to say something that will be slanderous, that will be defamatory, if you have court money, go ahead. If you have money to hire a lawyer, go ahead. But if you are like me, and you want to mind your business, and you don't want to be going back and forth, and you want to go and spend so much money on a lawyer, sit your somewhere. That thing that you want to write, that thing that you want to say, if you say it in your room and you don't record it, nothing will happen to you. If you have that conversation with that friend quietly in a corner somewhere, nothing would happen to you. But the moment you decide that you want to go public with it, be ready for the consequences. In the days where we had only radio, in the days where we had only TV, and we had a fair bit of newspapers, it was very rare to have people go on the tangent in which they are going today. You won't even get that opportunity to sit on radio and say those things that you are seeing today. As for TV, forget it. How many television stations did we even have? Newspapers, they were very careful of what they put in their papers. Of course, every now and then, somebody wrote something that was derogatory, somebody wrote something that was defamatory. The case would end up in court, and the court would proceed from there. Today, social media is a fantastic development. Look, social media has made money for people. Social media has given people opportunities. Social media has connected people. So it is a great platform. But it looks like, for whatever reason, people think that social media gives you the opportunity to just go and sit there and say what you want, especially when you do not have any evidence with respect to what you may be saying at that particular time. It is very easy to get a phone. It is very easy to go to Kantamantu, or it's very easy to go to UTC area and go and buy, a microphone and get a decent mobile phone, sit in the comfort of your room, get a very nice table, get a very nice chair, and say what you want in the name of wanting to trend and in the name of wanting to be very popular. But this is the thing, you can trend for the right reasons. Unfortunately, in this country, we tolerate a lot of nonsense. The other day, someone was telling me that if you do a very good video and you put it on any social media platform, go and check the number of views you would get. But if you say a lot of rubbish in this country, within minutes, you will get 1 million views, because in this country, we love a lot of rubbish. I disagreed with the person. I said, look, it is not always about the rubbish. But what I know about my understanding of that social media space, people are looking for a number of things that would get them to pay attention to your video. If you are providing a certain level of information, people are likely to pay attention. We live in a world where information is so key and is so important. So if you are providing information that makes a lot of sense, or information that is so needed, people will watch those videos. If you're providing a video that is inspirational, that says a thing or two, because we're human beings. Every now and then we get tired, we get worried, we have all kinds of mental issues. If you're saying something that is inspirational, people are likely to pay attention. These days, where people are very conscious of their health, look at the numbers of people who are doing health related videos on social media. 2 years ago, how many people knew Yabu Ejekum Francis? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, how many people knew him? But in the last 6 months, in the last 1 year, his videos are everywhere. Why? He's providing very important information to do with your health and to do with my health. And now that people are taking their health very, very seriously, people are paying attention. So it's not all the fooling. It's not all the nonsense that people throw away on social media that would get people to pay attention to your videos. Not at all. So the fact that you can afford a mobile phone, the fact that you can go to Kantamanto and buy a stick and use as your setup and say whatever you want, does not mean that you just throw these videos out and you wouldn't expect any consequences. It won't happen. For those of us who grew up in the generation of the 80s and before, we know what it means to be very responsible. I'm not saying the generation today are not responsible, but we know what it meant to be very responsible and say the right things. There's a very important reason why I love my friends from the Kwame Ridge. There's a very important reason why I love them. Because many years ago, I lived in the same vicinity with an Kwame family. And I always used to hear them saying, "Me pachosi." Me pachosi. Of course, I didn't understand. I wanted to know. I was like, me pacho no more kanesano. That was what I used to say. When I got closer as I aged, very respectful people, they want to start everything in a very respectful manner. And it was the same with a lot of tribes. You see an elderly woman carrying something, nobody would ask you to go and assist. You are talking to an elderly person, nobody would ask you to put your hand at your back. You want to speak to an elderly person, nobody would ask you to choose your words carefully. If elderly people were meeting and you are not invited, nobody would ask you to leave. This is how we were brought up, that generation, this is how we were brought up. And we're trained to be very careful about the things that we said. Of course, in those days, there was no social media. And I'm not saying that every child who came up during that era was brought up the way all of us were brought up. No, not at all. Those were different times. I get it. Today, that we claim that we have all of the education, we have all of those mind-boggling education. Yet when we open our mouth, we spew a lot of rubbish in the name of freedom, in the name of free speech. Who told you that you can just open your mouth and say what you want? Who told you that? The fact that you have the platform doesn't mean that you can open your mouth and say what you want. There are consequences for everything. I don't know her. I feel sorry for her.